President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawal, has again said National Assembly remained committed more than ever towards accountability and transparency by all arms of government through effective oversight duties. The President of the Senate gave this assurance while inaugurating West African Parliamentary Senate Press Corps in Abuja. Lawal, represented by Deputy Senate President Senator Ovio Omagege, said lawmakers of both chambers of the National Assembly, in synergy with the executive arm of government, will treat as matter of priority and urgency area of concern such as insecurity, unemployment, diversification of the economy. While appreciating the role of media played during the 9th National Assembly inauguration, Deputy Senate President believed that the media would help in driving with objective reportage as against sensationalization or subjectivity in whatever form against any arm of government.
Under the leadership of the 9th National Assembly, lawmakers of both chambers of the National Assembly, in synergy with the executive arm of government, will also treat as a matter of priority and urgency areas of concern such as insecurity, unemployment, and diversification of the economy. This, of course, is the spirit driving the 9th National Assembly inaugurated 27 days ago, with the belief that the fourth estate of the realm, the media, will help in driving with objective reportage as against sensationalism or subjectivity in whatever form against any arm of government.
For his part, a founding member of Senate Press Corps, Dr. Oji Ogbonoya, appealed to government at all levels to support the media towards adhere to ethics of the professions, adding that poverty imposes ethic violations.
Let us support the media to be able to adhere strictly to our ethics. Poverty imposes ethnic violation, and that's the problem.
Must rise to the occasion of protecting the bastion of democracy, which is the Parliament. This becomes imperative because we have identified how essential the independence of Parliament is in determining the quality of governance enjoyed by citizens of a nation. In other words, where Parliament is arm-twisted, the voice of the people is silenced and democracy suffers. We must ensure this never happens to the National Assembly or in any parliament within the West African sub-region.
Other stakeholders at the occasion also said that infiltration of politicians into media by the way of ownership of the media houses, as well as influence of some of these politicians on the top brass of the various media houses, is a worry trend that is fast reducing the importance of the media in the African continent.
In any nation, there is a direct correlation between a vibrant press and a vibrant civil society in general. In the ECOWAS Parliament, the contributions of members have been very immense, and the ECOWAS Parliament's press corps, right from inception, has supported disseminating widely the information about our activities. The Parliament has reserved a special place of partnership with the media, has indeed we and all parliaments should to ensure accountability to the people and preserve the people's right to know the parliamentary intervention for that foster good governance and boost their standards of living.
The infiltration of politicians into the media by way of ownership of media houses, as well as the influence of some of these politicians on the top brass of the various media houses, is a worrying trend that is fast reducing the importance of the media in the African continent.
The theme of the Senate Press Corps Day is centered around parliamentary independence in ECOWAS, the role of the media. Worried by the increasing cases of rape in Nigeria, Nigerian Senate has proposed amendment of relevant law to ensure stiffer punishment for offenders. Senate also directed its Committee on Judiciary, Police Affairs, Women and Social Development to interface with the relevant stakeholder in order to address the increasing cases of rape. These were some of the resolutions reached on the floor of the Senate on Tuesday after the lawmaker deliberated on the point of order raised by Senator Rose Oko. Senator Rose Oko in her presentation noted that the increasing cases of sexual violence against minors is worrisome, adding that one of the problems of prosecuting rape is proving penetration.
Incidents of sexual violations and other forms of violence on minors has continued to rise in all states of the Federation, as evidenced by the increasingly worrisome reports of rape, defilement, sexual exploitation, child trafficking. The Senate is alarmed that the perpetration of this act is becoming more brazen, as evidenced by harrowing stories of school children being raped by their teachers or supervisors, or by family members. For instance, the shocking rape of a 6-month-old baby in Kano in 2017, the trial of a private school supervisor for raping a 2-year-old, and the heart-rending story of the 13-year-old Ochanya Ogbaje who died of VVF in October last year after she was repeatedly raped by her guardian and her son, and of course the ongoing case at Koza Church here in Abuja, and a plethora of others. The Senate is worried that authorities have been accused of treating child molesters with levity. For instance, a representative from the Federation of International Women Lawyers, FIDA, lamented that the lackadaisical attitude of government agencies towards the fight against child sexual abuse is alarming, stating that in most states, prisoners, rapists inclusive, get released from prison because of overcrowding. They cited the case of 5-year-old Husseina, whose 50-year-old rapist was released by the court for molesting her 3 days after he molested her. The Senate is further worried that reports have emerged as to the lack of training of security agencies in Nigeria on how to deal with victims of sexual abuse.
In their contributions, Senator Ovioma Gege, Dino Melai, Oloriegbe Ibrahim, Oluremi Tinubu, and Shukuka Utazi expressed concern at the rise of sexual offenses across the country. They maintain that the lack of stiffer punishment is a major issue. The lawmaker further demand for sentencing guidelines.
We live with these challenges every day. The problems we have, Mr. President, is not so much that we don't have enough laws in our books. Indeed, we have so much. Most of those laws have been well articulated by the speakers in this motion. I think the problem we have is that of enforcement and implementation, not creating new laws, not even strengthening or increasing penalties. It's become very, very clear that even with the penalties we have on the statute books today, we're talking about statutory rape to begin with. The punishment for statutory rape is very, very harsh. It's very, very stringent. I don't think ordinarily that ought to deter anybody who commits crimes of this nature, but they've not been deterred. So I think what we should be focusing on today is the area of sentencing guidelines.
Mr. President, this is one of the satanic manifestations of humanity that have even spread. It is condemnable in the Christendom. It is condemnable in Islam, condemnable even the Voodoos, Judaism, and even Hinduism. Is an evil that if we do not propose stiffer punishments, people will continue to exhibit it and get away with it. Unfortunately, because of the corruption that is endemic in our system, many rape victims get away with it. You report a case of rape to the police, it is treated as if it's a minor offense.
When we talk about children, these are the most vulnerable group. Do they even understand what they mean by sex? They said even if someone is even taken to a law court, they said victim, okay, be put into a stand to defend yourself. Did they really understand what actually happened? I don't think so. So whoever must have been engaged in acts like this, like Senator Sekibo said, is very, very criminal. And I think it warrants a death sentence at this point in time.
The current laws needs to be reviewed so that the punishment is made more deterrent for people that engage in such. Because when a child, particularly as it was presented by the info of the motion, as young as 1 year or less than 1 year are raped, it's like killing the child. It's like killing the girl. I think the law must be more severe. That is, the punishment must be more severe to prevent people from conducting this. I support the motion, and I hope our interventions will be able to solve the problem.
I am of the opinion, looking at this thing holistically, where we are going is the amendment of the rape law. We are going to look at it and devise a new way of where people can go and report instead of going to police station. You know, if it's going to be Ministry of Women Affairs, we will take it such a keep a special desk that people can freely go to Women Affairs and report. NAPTIP, or whether it's in NAPTIP or any other place, devise a new area where these people can quietly come without anybody molesting them, and they can give the report. If we can create such atmosphere, I tell you, many people are going to come up and speak up their minds.
In his remarks, the Senate President Ahmed Lawal stressed the need to redefine what constitutes the offense of all sexual offenses.
This is a very sensitive part of our life. People have taken advantage of the minors, and in fact, even the older ones. And I think we need a lot of sensitization and protection. Sensitization for those people who may be victims and their relations, and of course for the society to also live with this fact that this is a criminality that we must never tolerate. I believe that our laws also need to be reviewed, and I think that when we have our committees in position, then such laws can be reviewed to ensure that the laws are more effective and punitive enough to deter people from doing this.
The Senate also urged the federal government to domesticate and implement the Child Rights Act. The opposition People Democratic Party caucus in the House of Representatives has called on the party to lift the suspension headed to some members of the party in the House. The PDP last week suspended the minority leader of the House, Honorable Ndudi Elumelu, the deputy minority leader, Honorable Toby Okechukwu, the minority whip, Honorable Gideon Gwani, and the deputy minority whip, Honorable Adeogun Adekoya, and others over minority leadership crisis in the House. Bringing the newsmen in Abuja, the PDP caucus joined the caucuses of other minority parties in the House, said its suspended party members had not committed any offense as they were only nominated by the majority of the minority members of the opposition in the House. The caucus restricted that the emergence of minority leadership of the House was in tandem with the House rules, particularly Order 7, Rule 8, which stated that members of the minority parties in the House shall nominate among them the minority leaders, minority whip, deputy minority leaders, and deputy minority whips. Honorable Lego Idago Cross River, who spoke on behalf of the caucus, appealed to the chairman of the National Working Committee of the PDP to rescind the suspension of Honorable Ndudi Elumelu and 5 other honorable members, noting that if indeed an offense was committed, the perpetrators will be all 111 of us, not the 6 members that were suspended by the party. The caucus commended the chairman of the PDP, Uche Sekondo, for excellent way he has piloted the affair of the party. The caucus maintained that it remains resolute in asserting the tradition of the National Assembly in maintaining its status as an independent arm of the government that has since 1999, when democratic rule returned to Nigeria, always determined its own leadership without meddling of external factors.
Discover the tangible magic of our hospitality that is all about you. The Wells Curtain Hotel and Apartments is a surely fantasy-like journey into a glamorous world of pure luxury and gratifying indulgence. The Wells Curtain Hotel and Luxury Apartments offers guests a perfect blend of relaxation, business and pleasure, delicately infused to meet the highest international standards. It's first-class service at its finest. Our commitment to exceed your expectations means impeccable attention to detail, courtesy, and a genuine care for your every need. Located at number 8 Gadonasco Street, off Jose Martin at Socorro, Abuja, Nigeria. You can call us on +234 908 7561 269 or visit our website at wellscurtain.com. Upgrade your stay at the Wells Curtain Hotel and Luxury Apartments, an experience guaranteed to leave you breathless with longing.
There was a mid drama on Tuesday at the investigative hearing on the allegation of assault against Senator Elisha Abo, as the embattled senator said he's not afraid of suspension. The Senate last week set up an ad hoc committee to investigate allegations of assault against Senator Abo at the sex toy shop in Abuja. The trouble started when the Senator Abo appeared before the committee and declined to talk on the matter, claiming that the case is before a court of law. He added that even if he decided to talk on the matter, he would prefer to a closed door section. The lawmaker, however, replied Senator Abo that he can't dictate for the committee. Abo reaction infuriated members of the committee and informed him of the consequence of his action. But Abo said he can't be threatened with suspension. According to him, I cannot talk because the matter is in the court. Why should I be talking before the camera?
Distinguished, we want to tell you, you're just joining us. We have a procedure and we're also under law. What we're doing as a legislature. You don't come in here when we invite you despite you are a colleague. All right? You are on the other side now. Everybody requires a fair hearing. What is going on with you affects us as a body. All right? That is why the Senate President constituted this committee. And you can see the level and integrity of the people under here. You don't come in here and dictate to us the procedures we are supposed to adopt. And that is, you don't dictate to us because you undermine us by even trying to do that. You haven't even listened to us. Even if we are going beyond what you expect, you can stop us. But you don't come to on the other side and start dictating to us. Do you want us to protect you, or do you want us to defend you, or you want to be on your own? Because do you realize that the Senate, off that mic and let me finish. Do you realize that the Senate, when we constitute this, whatever the law gives, we can also suspend you?
I will not sit and you threaten me with suspicion.
We are not threatening you. I said like we are not threatening you.
I will not sit you threatening you suspension.
With all due respect, sir.
With all due respect to you, I will sit here. You are my colleague. You are a senator like me. You cannot threaten me suspension. But I received a call from the clerk and also received a text message. Being that the police were asked to arrest me, which I was arrested, I was detained, I was investigated by the police, I was referred to competent court. I still feel out of respect for my colleagues. I shall come. But coming in here, I have been receiving thousands of media distance for me to go and address journalists, to tell them my side of story. I refused. But coming in here to be ambushed with media people covering me, I will not talk to the media. I will now ask, as a privilege of a senator, that I address this committee as in a closed session. Not trying to speak about my own side of story to the media and take it out there. Thank you so much.
20 Kogi governorship aspirants under the platform of All Progressive Congress have rejected the indirect primary adopted by the National Working Committee of the party. The aspirants said this in a protest letter addressed to the APC National Chairman Adams Oshiomhole, which was read by one of them, Muhammad Ali, at the news conference in Abuja. Ali said they were at APC National Secretariat to protest against the decision of the NWC on the adoption of indirect primary for the selection of the party flag bearer for the November 16 governorship election. He said the decision taken by the NWC was done without adequate consultation with the critical stakeholder in the state. In their word, we categorically reject the indirect primary adopted by our party for Kogi election. According to him, 20 aspirants have written against the outcome of the meeting of the National Working Committee of the party adopting indirect primary for the selection of the candidate. Ali recalled that the committee reportedly met on Friday, July 5th and adopted indirect primary election in picking the governorship candidate for the November 16 governorship election in the state. According to Ali, the decision to adopt indirect primary by the NWC is fraught with severe implications. There was pandemonium at the National Assembly on Tuesday when members of Islamic movement in Nigeria, popularly known as Shiite, in daring move tried to force their way into the main complex while plenary session was ongoing in the both chambers. The protesters in their hundreds engaged in an open confrontation with the security operatives at the main entrance, only stone and injuring a few policemen and the Shiite member also. There was also sporadic gunshots as security operatives manning the complex worked to disperse the protesters even as vehicles were either vandalized or set ablaze.
I was coming to the National Assembly when I saw people gathering. I was wondering why. But all of a sudden I see these protesters, Zakzakis, people that are protesting in favor of Zakzakis, shouting that they should free Zakzaki, they should free Zakzakis. Reaching to the National Assembly gate, they were a kind of, indeed, they were not holding anything harmful, but they were violent. They begin to stun, they pick stones and begin to stun the policemen that were there. All the security agents that are in National Assembly gate, they were stunning them. So, and the security locked the gate. That is the policemen and other security agencies locked the gate and stood behind the gate. So them they were stunning, so the security give them a lynching chance. So they forced themselves, breaking, vandalizing a lot of vehicles, injured sort of the drivers and the occupants inside the vehicles that were coming in the National Assembly. Even setting some vehicle ablaze. A lot of vehicles have been burned. As you can see now, you can see fire service, now they are operating. But glory be to God, police have now reinforced and come back and send them away. Now, in fact, there is peace now. If you are coming to National Assembly, you are free to come.
Meanwhile, the National Assembly has given its official reaction to the sharp protest incident. Addressing the Senate Correspondent, Chairman of Senate Ad hoc Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Senator Dayo Adeyeye, said security at the National Assembly remain top priority, seeing it is a public building accessible to all Nigerians.
One of the things that we have discussed since the inauguration of the National Assembly has been the issue of security within the National Assembly premises. It is a matter that is being looked at. Because parliaments all over the world are not this porous. There is always very good security in some of these parliaments all over the world. But being that is made, you also recognize the fact that National Assembly is a public place for all Nigerians. You know, we are representatives of the people, and all Nigerians reserve the right, if they follow proper channels and procedures, to come here to meet with their elected representatives to ventilate their grievances. It should be so. But where there are breaches in terms of procedure and the regulations guiding such matters, then of course it gives room for concern. This is a matter we were going to look at. We are just informing us. We have been inside the chambers since morning. We have not been privileged to know this fact. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. But it's a matter that will be looked at seriously.
Members of the Islamic movement in Nigeria have been in long-drawn battle with the Nigerian government as they call for release of their leader, who has been in custody for over 3 years. As at the time of filing this report, National Assembly Correspondent was yet to confirm the rumors dead of one of the injured policemen.